and welcome to Knit to Know Me. I'm Ella and I'm in Cambridge, New Zealand. I love to talk about yarn and I get really excited about it, and so it is bringing me a lot of joy to know that I'm talking to people like you who really get it. So I've got a bit to share with you this week. I've got two small finished items. I've got an interrupted project to update you on, and maybe a little bit of unraveling, frogging and re-knitting. You knew that was going to happen, didn't you? I know you did. But anyway, I'll tell you about that a little bit later on and the big story behind that. I've also got quite a bit to tell you about my journey into continental knitting and back to English style knitting, I think, and my thoughts about that. But let's get started by just telling you what I'm wearing today. I am wearing my Tolsta tee by Rebecca Clow. It's knitted in Lana Grossa's Cool Wool Big Vintage, and that is in the colour 7162, which is kind of like a mustardy colour. So it's a DK weight. So Rebecca Clow gives you a DK version and a 4-ply version in her Tolsta tee pattern. It's a fantastic pattern, knitted top down in the round, of course, raglan style, simple t-shirt, but it's still a great pattern because it's on a bigger gauge. If you haven't knitted a raglan before, it's very good for beginners, beginner friendly, size inclusive, all of that jazz. And yeah, it's a good one to have in your library, I think. I'd totally recommend it if you haven't got any raglan t-shirts or sweaters. Oh, she's even got options for adding long sleeves if you want to make a jumper with it. Yeah, so my next t-shirt actually will be, I want to knit a 4-ply, but in a normal tight 4-ply gauge. And I've got a question for you guys actually, because I just watched one of Sandra Carl's videos. Oh, she's got lovely videos. I'm sure you've all heard of her. We probably like the same things if you were watching this channel. So you would have heard of her, but if just in case you haven't, I will link her below because she's got lovely videos, lots of musings, I guess you call it, and thoughts on life and our minds and stuff like that. So yeah, really enjoy her episodes. Anyway, she was saying that for her summer teas, she likes to use the superwash yarn. If you watch my previous episode, you would know that I'm trying to avoid those, mostly because of the super growth that you get, and I just find them too, excuse me, unpredictable for my level of knitting experience. So I'm trying to avoid those. Plus, I really do like the feel of a natural yarn. But anyway, what she was saying was that for that summer type t-shirt where you're wearing and washing more often than you would a winter garment, it can felt, she said, underneath the armpits. So she likes to use a superwash yarn for her summer teas. So that got me a little bit worried because it's starting to warm up here in New Zealand. Looks quite grey at the moment, but we have had such a lovely day today. That's why I broke out the t-shirt, in fact. And yeah, so I would love to start knitting on some t-shirts for summer soon, and I'm starting to look at what I would knit that in. And I was just thinking I was going to use some of my Anna Grattan 4-ply and knit a couple of t-shirts just to see what it was like to wear in the summer and how hot it would be, etc. But if they're gonna felt under the armpits, I don't want to knit them and wear them. And then do I knit them looser under the armpits? So yeah, my question to you guys is that a thing for you? Does that happen if you knit t-shirts in untreated wool, non-superwash? Does that mean that it's going to felt under the armpits, or is it likely to happen? Yeah, so let me know in the comments. I'd be super interested. Thank you very much. I've had such a lot of good comments from you guys, really cool suggestions, including some that are just so obvious. So don't be afraid to let me know if you think I'm missing something really obvious, because it happens, believe me. I had a lovely viewer comment on my last video that I could just steam out those creases in my Mizzle and Mist cardigan. And I do have a steamer, so I don't know why I didn't think of that. Of course I can. And so that I can quickly just steam out the wrinkles rather than reblocking the whole garment. Very good tip. Very basic idea, but really, really clever and necessary for me. Yeah, so thank you. I really love your comments, guys, and I love talking to you guys and chatting back and forth. It's really been fun. So that's really cool. Yeah, so thank you. Now let's talk about the first finished garment first. I had to knit Teddy a jumper. I got totally interrupted from my Calypso Worsted big colourwork project because I got Teddy groomed. Normally I do it myself and he looks a bit scruffy, but it's saves me quite a bit of money doing it myself. But I've been a bit slack and I needed help. So I got him groomed and a little bit early for the weather, and he got a very short cut because he had a lot of matting because I've been so slack. And so he was freezing and he was shivering his little butt off every morning and every night. So I was feeling really guilty. So I put down my knitting on my jumper for myself and decided to cast on him a jumper. And I wanted it to be really quick, but I didn't have a clue about shaping a jumper for a dog. So I chose a really easy pattern with a rib design. And the pattern is Red's simple stretchy dog jumper by Emma Jane de Villiers, and it turned out so cute and he loves it. Oh, look at him. Now I think this might interrupt the sound with the microphone, but it's quite loose on him, which is quite good because when it's tight around their little legs, it can rub and match their fur. So it's really cute. It's got ribbing underneath him on his tummy and a 2x2 ribbing on the back. And he's really cute and he really loves it. What don't you? You really love it. You really love it. Oh, you do. You do. Don't you mess up my jumper with your claws. Yeah, so we're going to go for a walk after this, aren't we? Gorgeous. Now I'll quickly take it off him because I just want to show you the basics of it. And he'll want it back on again after I'm finished probably. So I'll just quickly take it off him. Here we go, darling. There you go. There you go. Put him down. Don't worry, I'll give it back. So it is knit flat in one piece all the way to the arm. So you start off at the neck. You've got 2x2 ribbing section that goes over the back and a 1x1 rib that goes down his tummy. You split for one of the armholes and then you join up again under when you've finished one of the armholes. And then all you need to do is sew up in two places. So it's only got a tiny bit of sewing up. And normally I put sewing up off, but because he was desperate for his little jumper, I didn't. But anyway, the great thing about doing this jumper is it taught me what I was doing wrong with my continental knitting and my rowing out. And it ended up being a great big exercise in finding out that I can't do continental knitting when there's purling involved. I just can't do it. Anyway, back to the jumper just for a second because there's just one more thing to tell you about the actual construction of the jumper. Because it's a super stretchy thing and it's machine washable, it will shrink back down again when I wash it again. But I'm going to put just some elastic in there and I might sew up his little leg holes a little bit more because they've really stretched out, but I'll wash that again first before I decide. But I might put some, just that elastic in the neck just to stop it slipping down so much, because he does love it. And if it slipped off him, I pick it up and I hold it out, and he comes running to get me to put it back on again, so that's cool. But anyway, there's always a lot to tell you, and I get so confused about what I should say first, but here we go. The story about the continental knitting. I know that, I think I've told you before, I know that I get rowing out with continental knitting. And I've been trying to get better at that, and I thought that I was. But when I knitted this, I wish I'd taken a picture of it because it looked absolutely hideous. The ribbing was shocking. It still doesn't look perfect, but I think it's pretty good for a dog jumper. It doesn't really matter. But some of the stitches were really wonky, and if I show you up close, I mean, it's hardly anything right now. I'm not saying that that's a big deal, but it was really, really wonky before it was blocked, and I had to stretch the heck out of it just to help the stitches get into line. And it's a DK and it's a dog jumper. And you can probably see it more on this side. I mean, it's nothing really, but I wish that I'd taken a picture of it when it was first knit because they were wonky as, and it all blocked out and stretched out quite well, like I say. But the point was, I was thinking, how do I get this better? And I tried all sorts of ways of continental knitting. And one version, I was doing the combination knitting. For those of you who have tried continental knitting, it's basically knitting in your left hand. And I thought, and I was quite proud of myself for teaching myself how to do it, learning how to do it closer to the end of my needles, all that sort of stuff to get better at the purl sides. But I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it without the rowing out. And this was one of the exercises that really spurred me into thinking, well, let's just give up on continental knitting for a while and see what happens. So I had some lovely 4-ply yarn to swatch up, and I did some normal knitting, English style, and there was no rowing out. So this is Fibre to Go natural untreated merino. It's dyed yarn, but it's not superwash treated. And if you can see, there's no rowing out, and it looks really neat and tidy. And that's before blocking. So I think that's pretty good. No rowing out. And that's knit backwards and forwards, English style, because my progression with English style has come a long way too. So I used to put the needle in and then wrap my yarn around using my whole shoulder and arm because that's the only way I really knew how to do it. I could never get the flicking, and it just felt so weird to me to knit that way. And when I called it English style in one of my videos and said that I got shoulder pain, one of my viewers commented and told me, well, my version of English style, I don't use my shoulder. And I thought to myself, yeah, I know, but I can't do the flicking. And then I thought to myself, hang on a minute, if I've taught myself to do the continental style knitting and quite well, and it's quite fast, why can't I teach myself to do the flicking? So I gave it a go. Unfortunately, I was mid-project at the time and I didn't want to change my tension, so I didn't. And I didn't change at the time. But then I thought, let's change it. So I'm now doing a sort of a hybrid version, maybe. I've seen other knitters knit like this, and I don't think it's too abnormal. It's not abnormal at all. But instead of just flicking, I'm sort of anyway. Suffice to say that my English style knitting is now a lot quicker, and I'm very happy with it. It's giving an even tension. I'm getting predictable results from the the recommended needles and patterns. I've done a little bit of more swatching. I did another swatch, which I'll show you in a minute, because it's about some other yarn that I want to talk to you about. And yeah, so I'm really pleased, and I'm gonna actually switch to English style, back to English style, which is knitting in my right hand with the sort of flick, but it's kind of, yeah, anyway. Long story short, I think I'm going to switch to English style knitting, perfecting that sort of flicking motion, trying to get that better. And I think that in the long run, it's going to be a better choice for me. I think continental knitting is great for some, and if you can get your pearls to match with using combination knitting, or you're just naturally good at continental knitting and you can get your gauge right and consistent, that's great. That's fabulous. Or you might have grown up with continental knitting. I know my daughter learnt to do continental knitting because she went to a Steiner school and they taught that method. So to her, that's totally natural. And it does feel natural to me. It's just that I am having real trouble with my tension, which I didn't have before. I had a tight tension, but it wasn't all over the place and unpredictable, which it is for me with continental. Yeah, so I'm very pleased to be doing that. Unfortunately, with the Colourwork sweater, I am mid-project, so I'll update you on that in a minute. But just let me finish my finished objects for you. So I've got a pair of socks, and those are them. This is in the Countrywide painted skeins, and it's one skein of wool, but they're completely different socks. I mean, they're sort of the same, but they're one's very light and one's very kind of dark. I like the darker one better, to be honest. And this is another reason why the English style is going to be better, because I think I've got different tension on two different socks. I'm sure that happens a lot to most people, or a lot of people, but for me it's very noticeable. This pattern is great. So the yarn is Countrywide painted skeins, I think hand painted, something like that. And I'm going to put the links to all of the yarn in the description box below. Plus you'll have the link to my Ravelry page for all the little minor details that I forget to say while I'm rambling away. But the pattern is great. This is Black Cat Knit's favourite socks pattern, and it's a super basic vanilla sock recipe that she likes to follow, and because it's got a ribbed leg, it gives a nice fit. And it's quite cool because it's got a slightly lower stitch count in her gauge, so it's a 32 stitch gauge. My gauge didn't turn out like that, but I'm going to make another pair very soon so that I can really compare the English style with the continental style. I think there's going to be benefits to my socks. Yeah, so anyway, back to the pattern. It's a great toe-up sock with increases for the instep, and it's got a shadow wrap heel, and I think that's perfect for me because I love the ease of a German short row, but I didn't like the holes I was getting from it. So, and there's not really any holes. So if you can see, I think they're very, very cool. A very cool pattern. Glad I purchased that one. Love it. So yeah, check those out if you would like a great sock pattern. Toe up, super easy to follow, and I'm sure I'm going to memorize that really well. I've got quite a high instep, so she gave you an option for increasing the stitch count for the higher instep. They do say once you get a good sock pattern, you don't need to ever buy another one, but there are a few I've got my eyes on, so yeah, watch the space for that. So those are my socks, all finished. And I keep forgetting to tell you, but if I'm using New Zealand yarn at the moment and New Zealand patterns, I'm able to go into the Kiwi Mail, which is running in 2026. So I'm using the hashtag Kiwi Mail 2026, and it's run by a bunch of different podcasters. I'll try and find a video linking to that, because it's closing up at the end of August, but you can still enter on Ravelry and on Instagram. Although I don't know whether hashtags are working quite as well as they used to, because I don't think my entries have been seen yet. But anyway, I was able to put my Possum Merino cowl and my Muslin Mist cardigan in there, and my socks and the dog jumper, because they're all knit with New Zealand yarns. And I've got a couple more, hopefully, to get in by the end of August as well. I don't think I'm going to finish that colourwork sweater, of course, because I've got an update for you. Now, some of you had a clue that it looked like I might be frogging it, and you were right, because I did. I frogged it right up to the collar. Frogging means ripping back, in case you don't know. And the reason was because I could see there was tension issues. It was while I was filming this episode, actually. I'd put it on the barber cord to show you properly, and I was thinking, oh dear, this doesn't look... It looked good, and I even blocked it. I hope I haven't ruined the yarn by doing that. I didn't want to start it again in a different skein of yarn, because I liked the colours that I was getting on this one, but I'll pop a picture of the difference. Anyway, I was looking at it and I was thinking, what if colourwork is better English style too? So I blocked this before I made that decision, and I really thought about it, and it took off like a couple of days before I went ahead and did it. But I did. I decided, blow it, I have to do it. I have to do it, which was a real shame, because I didn't want to do that. It's not ideal to be undoing colourwork, especially when it's been knit and sat there for over a week, because the wool was all crinkly. So I had to unravel it, and I gave it a light steam. Now that's going to have a slightly different way of knitting up now, because it's already been blocked. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out. But anyway, I think it's looking a lot better than it was. So I'm very happy that I did. But also with the English knitting, there's a lot of fast methods for colour work that you look up, colour work, and everybody's talking about how to do it faster and all the rest of it. I actually think it's faster to slow down. I think going English style for me, where I actually pick up and drop the yarn, is working out really good. So basically I'm using my whole wrap method for it, and I'm dropping one completely, and because I'm dropping it, I'm actually stopping and thinking to stretch those stitches out, and my tension for this is a lot better. It's flat already. Of course, some of the stitches are a little bit wonky, which we'll fix in blocking. I hope they fix in blocking. Yeah, so I think it's actually working out a lot better, and I'm really happy, and I think the tension's a lot better, and it's going to fit me a lot better. Yeah, so that's the progress on that. So I'm not quite up to where I was last time I showed you, but I will be soon, and hopefully next time I see you I'll be splitting for the sleeves, unless I get sidetracked onto something else. Anyway, that's that one. Then I have some more plans in the making as well, and I thought I would update you on them, even though I've only got the swatch done. This is my first little swatch. I'm going to do another one, but because I talked about the Palisser Ridge lamb's wool in my last episode, and a lot of you had questions about that. In fact, I got a message from Palisser Ridge, and they told me that they had actually had quite a lot of inquiries and sales of their yarn, and they seem to attribute it to my video. I think there's been a couple of us talking about Palisser Ridge at the moment because of the Kiwi Mail, but yeah, that was quite cool to hear that people had been listening. Yeah, so I didn't get to swatch properly before I told you about the yarn for the DK weight. And I knit this swatch English style, backwards and forwards, no rowing out, with a 4.5mm needle. And it looks a bit see-through when you hold it up to the light, but when it's on my hand, beautiful stitch definition. That is knitted on a 4.5mm needle, and I got a 19 stitch gauge there. I didn't knit it very high because I could kind of tell straight away that I wanted to try a 4mm needle. So I think a 4mm needle will be perfect for what I'm looking at. I won't tell you exactly which pattern yet because I haven't made my final decision, or whether it's going to be a vest or a jumper. But it's so soft, and I love this yarn. And the exciting thing about that yarn from Palisser Ridge, and I'm going to have to link it now because I'm talking about it again. I'm going to have to link it again in this video. But they've told me that they're working on some new colours coming out. So that's exciting. And the colours that they've mentioned are colours that I think I'm going to like. They said a dark green. Oh, I can't remember now. But anyway, some exciting colours that they are coming out with in the near future, by the sounds of things. So that's cool. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that part of the reason why it is such a great price, it's $89 for a 1 kilo cone plus shipping, is that the some of the finishing techniques they've missed out on. It's still a quality yarn, but it's the dye in it, it's not as washed out as it is with other yarns that you buy. So when you first block it, quite a bit of the colour comes out. So you need to be aware that that's normal. And after you've washed it that first time, it shouldn't happen again. Anyway, love this yarn. And so that's that. So getting ready to choose a pattern for my husband's jumper. Got any suggestions? Let me know, and I'll check those ones out too. And then I've got a project to show you that I've got some huge decisions to make. I've got a new project in the making, but it's actually redesigning an old project. So I'm getting this out of the cupboard because I really want to finish this project for my daughter, but it's just been languishing because I wasn't enjoying it. It was partly a yarn thing because I don't really like the yarn, to be honest. It's not a superwash, but it feels like a superwash. It says on it that it's hand wash only, but it feels more like a superwash, and it's got a high twist on it, which is not my favourite. And it's really difficult to talk about a yarn when you don't really like it. I don't want to rubbish anybody's yarn, but this is a supposed cheap yarn from Spotlight. And it was a crochet project, a bit more of a decorative thing that she wanted. So I was happy to go to Spotlight with her, choose some yarn and colours that she liked, and she chose a wool that she liked the feel of because she's very sensitive to yarn. So I let her pick, and I let her pick the colours, and that's hard when you're working on something and you're not really super keen on the colours. So that's one reason: the yarn, the colour, and probably the gauge and what I decided to do with it. So I decided to make them really plain squares, so they're all just one colour squares. Very easy granny stitch squares, and then I was just going to join them all together with the white border. And then when I was doing it, I did it quite quickly because I'm quite a quick crocheter. And when I put them together, it was kind of looking more like a baby blanket. Maybe that's what I could do, finish it as a baby blanket. Maybe that's a good idea now that I think about it. But this has gone through several ideas. So I've got all these crochet squares already. I don't want to buy any more yarn. And so quickly I was finding out that because I like a tight tension, I wasn't going to get enough squares really out of the yarn I bought, and I didn't really want to go and buy any more of this because Spotlight yarn is supposed to be a budget friendly yarn, but if it's not on one of their mega sales, it's not actually that cheap. Sometimes you really have to be careful. So I thought, well, how am I going to make this work for something I'm more keen on, but also get more out of more meterage and more, I don't know how you say that, more blanket for the meters that I had. So I started trying, first of all, with little mitered squares. So on the Cozy Memory Blanket, it's a free pattern that you can download, and it's designed to use scrap sock yarn and or your scrap 4-ply. And I tried that first, and okay, it looks okay, but the Cozy Memory Blanket to me sort of has that cool vibe because it's got all that variegated yarn and advent calendars that people have used and things like that, and that wasn't really doing it for me either. As I hold it up there on the screen, I think it looks okay, but I couldn't quite imagine it, and I showed it to my daughter and she did like it, but I wasn't quite 100% sold on it. And I tried another method of mitered squares. This one has a 2-stitch miter, but I tried holding the yarns 2 together to get some marling happening, and that didn't do it for me either. And then I decided I would get the SweetShopBlanket by Laura Penrose, that pattern, and try it because I saw Soph Knits Daily, or one of her episodes of We Knit Daily, and she was sharing her latest cast on of the SweetShopBlanket. I think she's already knitted a whole one, and then she's doing another one. And she held her yarn together with a sort of a Make It tweed yarn. And I tried it in that first because I've got some of the Rico Make It tweed. And this is beautiful. It actually turned out really, really beautiful. And it's got little tiny slubs on it. Ooh, little tiny weeny slubs. And it looked amazing. But I thought that is $22 a ball here in New Zealand. So that ain't going to happen. But Anna Grattan sells this on Trade Me and on her price list, which I have. And this is a same sort of thing, but it's only got the knops or slubs in it. I'll put the actual name of that yarn on the screen because I can't remember off the top of my head. But she sells these little cones, and I'll put the meterage on the screen as well. But that was only $10. So I think that could maybe get quite a bit of the blanket done if I choose to do it in that. But when I try something new, sometimes it has to sit there for a while to get some more of the mitered squares that I've tried. So I've really had a good go at this yarn, guys. So then I put it together with that Anna Grattan cone, and this is what turned out like. So Soph Knits Daily, she put the yarn, put her 4-ply with this Make It tweed kind of yarn, and she showed it, and I thought it looked really cool. So that's what I went and tried with Anna Grattan's one, and you can see that some of the slubs, or what do you call those things? Little bumps of yarn pop right out, and some of them lay flat. And I think if I twist the yarn more as I go, it's going to work out really nice. But I need to kind of twist it a little bit more into the yarn as I'm knitting it, because otherwise it just pokes out. And this is the first time I've done a SweetShopBlanket, so my picking up of the squares is leaving it kind of a bit gappy. but I'm not going to undo this. If I decide to go ahead with the Sweet Shop blanket for this yarn, I am not undoing this. Shall I make that a promise? Because I'm keep getting told I'm too fussy and I need to move on with my life. But hey, it's my knitting and I can be fussy if I want to. So there, I'm going to be fussy if I want to, but not with this. I promise you. I'm going to keep going with this if I decide this is what I want to do. But I've got a slightly tighter gauge because the squares are turning out 17 centimetres and they're supposed to be 20. But I quite like it like that. In fact, I would like it if it was even tighter, I think. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that's a goer? Or should I go back to the crochet? Or should I do these? Might be quicker to do these. That's the join on those that cozy memory blanket. That's the right side. Yeah, so I don't know. Haven't quite made up my mind 100%. I'm really enjoying the Sweet Shop blanket pattern though. I think it's very cool. All four squares have a different sort of method. So you need to have your brain switched on, but I'm sure that once I've done a few, it'll get a little bit easier. And the easiest square is apparently the one that you knit the most in a blanket, in the whole blanket. So that's good news because that top square is actually the easiest square in my mind. And I knitted all of that English style, plus all the other swatches I've been doing, and changing Teddy's dog jumper in the last section, and half of one of my socks, and all of this in English style, and I haven't got a sore shoulder yet. So that's great news. So the last little thing I want to share with you is my beginnings into my spinning journey. Well, hopefully it will be because I've just started. I've only had like 3 sort of group lessons. I've gone along to Creative Fibre for the last little while now, and I'm really enjoying that. So much to learn from those guys, honestly, and they're just so generous with their time. And there's a lovely lady named Margaret, and she is giving her time once a week to take on us newbies and teach us how to spin, and it's been great. I've been able to borrow a spinning wheel, take it home. It's an Ashford Traveller spinning wheel, and I'll pop a picture of the spinning wheel itself in for you. And I'm just borrowing it till I decide whether this is something I'm going to get into or not. Now, I just wanted to show you my super rubbish spinning, but I'm pretty pleased with it considering it's my first time. I mean, look, it's absolute mixture. It's some of it's unspun, some of it's over twisted, blah blah blah. But hey, I got that on the bobbin, and today I learned how to put it on the niddy noddy to skein it up, and now I have to just untwist that and wash it. Apparently, been given the instructions how to do that. And I've got almost another whole bobbin spun up. I'll put a picture up of that. And it's looking even better than this. So I'm getting better and better quite quickly. And I'm even using really rubbish yarn, apparently. I know nothing about yarn. They're telling me everything I need to know bit by bit. I'm taking it all in bit by bit. Today they had a lesson on long drafting. Went totally over my head. So I just watched and yeah, I'll take that in another day, I think. But anyway, I've had this wool in my stash. Some of you guys might remember the brand. They used to have their own business. Where are they from? Palmerston North. And Kairanga Handcrafts, they're called. and they used to be around a long time ago, and I bought some of their wool for felting at the time. Apparently it's not even that great for felting. It will work, and it just takes a lot more work, and I think these days we know a bit more about felting, so there's better yarns available for that, or better fibre available for that. Anyway, my point of showing you that was to say that I'm learning on this just to sort of get started, and then I'll switch to something else just to before I go buying any yarn, because this has been sitting in my storage in the garage for about 20 years. I've got this back when my kids were little and I was learning how to felt, and I was trying out needle felting and stuff. And I've got a whole mixed bag of different colours in this. I don't want to use it all for spinning because it's not going to turn out that great, apparently. It's got quite a sticky. It's quite sticky. It's not very soft, but it's soft enough. I think I'll even try and make a cushion cover or something out of it when I'm done. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's going along really good. And today I bought some combed top Corriedale. It's very soft, and it's from Wyoming Wool Carding, Lynn Watson and Steve Clarkson, and it's a very bright purple colour, but I got it on the sales table at Creative Fibre today, and it feels so much different to that. But I can't even tell the difference between what it's supposed to feel like and what it's not supposed to feel like. I think to me it kind of feels more cloud-like. I don't know. I don't know what I'm feeling. But anyway, I'm going to spin that once I've finished that bobbin. I need 2 bobbins to apply, apparently. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to try this, I think, and see if it helps my technique or not. Probably won't, because I'm rubbish. So anyway, if you're not interested in spinning, I apologise. And if you are a spinner, I apologise too, because I'm a beginner and I don't know anything about what I'm doing. I just thought I would like to share my journey with you anyway. So yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to talk to you about today, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that. And as always, please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me, because it just lets me know that you like the video and encourages me to keep going. It's been super kind of all of you guys to press that like button. And I know it's hard sometimes to put down your knitting and do that, especially if you're watching on TV. I know it's hard, but yeah, if you could do that, it would be fabulous. So yeah, that's all I've got for you today, guys. See you later. See you next time, hopefully in 2 more weeks. Bye.